Good morning, folks. Welcome back for a new day. It's John Pettipas, bright and early at 23 minutes past 7 o'clock in the morning on the morning now of Wednesday, which is the 26th day of January 2022. The days are getting longer. Supper time is brighter, and it's getting bright early in the morning now. So, better days ahead. We're 1 week from Groundhog Day. This morning, I wanted two things to sting pleasure. First of all, fine young man and great subscriber and many of his friends, Brent Chisholm. Brent Chisholm of Heather and Bayfield, I want to give him a shout out to. He'd be a nephew of his Aunt Debbie, his wonderful Aunt Debbie, taught me how to tie my shoelaces as a kid in grade school. So, good morning, Brent. I'm certain by now at 26, actually it's just about 25 minutes past 7 o'clock in the morning on, as I say, Wednesday morning, the 26th day of January 2022. You have a good breakfast, you. So, good morning, Brent Chisholm. Shout out and thank you for all your friends for subscribing. You're the glue that keeps the whole YouTube system together. Thank you. All the best now. Good day. This morning is additionally my distinct pleasure and honor to go back to the beautiful Acadian community by video of Frankville. And I'm doing the LEVANGIES of Frankville. I'm specifically focusing on the Levangie store. It'd be James Levangie and Son. So bear with me. I'm covering about 125 years of history. I can't do it in 4 or 5 minutes and do it justice. So here we go. They take us James Levangie and Son. As I mentioned in previous videos, the railroad, the beautiful blessed railroad, it would have been the intercolonial railroad that turned after being formed in 1870s, going through Tracadie, Monastery, Linwood, Frankville, back of Auld, Cove to Port Mulgrave, over to Point Tupper. It was way before the days of the railroad being in Harbour Bush here, Cape Jack, and Auld, Cove proper, and Kansagosme. So this is the old intercolonial railroad. So that made it a bustling railroad side community. And they started, James Levangie being a very entrepreneurial guy, a male at that time, came by train. There was no courier, there was certainly no email stuff, and people communicated by letter, and the train was the basis that the mail bags came in. So the Levangie family, this would be the first of 4 generations I'm covering this morning. It's James Levangie, James Levangie, I believe it's James A. Levangie. He started the post office in Frankville. And I remember the 100th anniversary, I had the honor of presenting a citation on behalf of the Honorable Dave Dingwall, and a very honorable of Dave Dingwall's honorable Bill Gillis, late Honorable Bill Gillis, bless his heart, is very honorable. And I presented that citation at Charlie Martinez's house. And Charlie must have taken over the store by then. I came from his wonderful father, Cyril, and son being the son of Cyril and Dolores. So they take at the house. I remember this. I went up with Vince Roger. It was the evening, and all these little kids running around. And he said he lovingly, affectionately referred to them as his baseball team. And there's 6 kids, 5 or 6 kids. It was enough kids running around, and he referred to them affectionately. Charlie affectionately referred to them again, I repeat, as his baseball team. So anyway, that was on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of Levangie's having the post office. And a few years later, he went to Truro about 3 years later by train, and with $75, and he bought himself a puncheon and molasses. That's a big wooden barrel, you say. It's referred to as a puncheon. A puncheon molasses, a crate of tea, several bags of sugar, probably brown sugar in those days, and some flour. And he came back home, and that is the genesis of the James Levangie store that ran for over 100 years. In fact, over 110 years, okay, well into the 1990s, okay. Then his his son, Cyril, who went to university in Antioch, I'm told, in fact, I'm told, I know it's a fact, went to university. One of his classmates was Bill McEachran, who was later the dual riding of Inverness, was MLA for Inverness for John Archie Mackenzie. And John Archie Mackenzie, Inverness North and Judic, Inverness South was part of the riding. Then the dual constituency in Inverness was Bill McEachran, late Honourable Bill McEachran, went to school with Cyril. And although he's not in politics, he's a very honourable man, an extremely honourable gentleman. And I don't have the exact date, but I know they're approaching their 70th anniversary. Their 70th wedding anniversary is coming up. I'm not certain it's this year, next year, but it's getting close. They're remarkable people. His lovely wife, Dolores, was a Benoit from Plunkett. So I have Benoit's. If I have the Canadian flag up here, big one behind me, by the Canadian flag, and on the side here. Actually, I have it stuck in my oatmeal thing. I have the only thing that'll hold up on. See, not like oatmeal. I have it in my oatmeal bottle so it doesn't tip over as I'm bouncing about. They take in it. Shows up fine the camera if I say so myself. So, all those children, they have a very large family. They take and are half Plunkett Benoits and half Levangie of the beautiful Acadian community just up in Harbushy of Frankville. So they're wonderful folks. Now, on the Cyril, that business expanded. They sold glass. You can get panes of glass there, nails, some hardware. They gasoline, fertilizer, animal feed, and a full line of groceries. A lovely store. And he lovingly attended that store as postmaster. The post office remained in the store as long as the store operated. And they take, and finally I get in the third generation. I came running in the third generation is Cyril's son, Charlie. And I just want to back up on Cyril here for a second. Cyril is a remarkable man. I have a book in my personal library of the 100th anniversary of St. Paul's Parish in Harbushy. And Cyril is dressed up in a suit with some other notables in the community that were on a committee to celebrate in 1956 what was then the centennial, the 100th anniversary of the founding of St. Paul's, and he's a distinguished-looking gentleman. He's not a kid then. That's 1956. So 44 years in the old decade, 22 new old century, 22 years in the new century, and new millennium. So that's 66 years ago, and he was in fine form. He sings in a choir. They have a fantastic organist. Their daughter, Brenda, I misspoke there. Their daughter, Sandra, wonderful Sandra. And boy, they said Edith DeCoste could make that piano sing. She was so good at it, and she was wonderful in her own right. A wonderful piano player. Well, Sandra can do the same with the organ. She can make that organ sing. Plus, they have a fantastic choir in Harbushy, and one of the choir members has been for years Cyril Levangie. So the daughter plays the piano. Excuse me, not piano. The daughter plays the organ, makes that organ sing, and the wonderful father takes and sings along. He's a fantastic gentleman. He goes out for a walk. They take him. You see him frequently going from Frankville. See him out for his walk over the many years in Frankville. He's out for his morning walks. So they're clean living good people, and God's granted both Cyril, son of the founder of Levangie store, and his lovely wife Dolores, a long and healthy life, and their marriage, is heading towards 70 years. Now I get the third generation, son Charlie. Now, Charlie was a man at times, not without demons in his life. That's only a small part of his life. He was an extremely personable guy, and one couldn't help but like him. He was just a very likable, good guy. And of course, his wonderful widow Martina is a school teacher and mother of, I think it's 5 or 6 kids in that family. There's Ryan Levangie, entrepreneur, Ryan LEVANGIES entrepreneur, and lots of pissing vinegar in that fellow. His equally wonderful brother, Mark, who was in the sports medicine, and they take, and there's several sisters. One of them comes to mind. She come in the store, wonderful lady. We're going to call this morning. I'm sorry I can't pick up your name because there's so many to keep track of, but we're going to call her the lovely first generation Cape Bretoner, and the wonderful Brook Village Grocery in Brook Village between Mabu and Waikagama, Brook Village Grocery lady. So that's my brief, by my standards, focus on the LEVANGIES of Frankville. They're wonderful people. I've served the people very well over the years. Remarkable family. Go back to James LEVANGIES. His son Cyril ran the store for many years that his father had founded and built upon. It built a new building, and as I say, added gas pumps and expanded the offerings of the wonderful enterprise. Remember seeing a write-up in the papers. There were about 110 years. You could buy everything from baby formula to probably the baby bottles to a congratulations card on new baby. Then one of their many children, I focus on Charlie because he ran the store, and he has lots of brothers and sisters, all of considerable capacity, and they take, and they're almost just a little bit like Abraham and Sarah again. Descendants so numerous to like Jesus, the Lord, Savior and Redeemer, promised Sarah and Abraham, your descendants shall be like the stars. The stars of the sky or the sands of the desert. So you get into third generation again is Charlie, and the fourth generation, Ryan LEVANGIES entrepreneur, his brother Mark, and their lovely first generation Cape Breton sister. And there's several more. So they're wonderful folks. Share the video far and wide, and get a good breakfast yourself. I'm about to cook some rolled oats here. I normally never make a video before breakfast, but I did this morning. So I wish each and every one of you wonderful viewers all the best. God bless. Share the video far and wide. You'd be so kind. Push the like button and subscribe. Keep on building the subscriber network. Thank you very much. Bye for now.